Korea's tests are a threat to international peace and stability.
It's a global threat and requires a global response.
The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. The United States is ready, willing and able, but hopefully this will not be necessary.
Due to the Asian time difference, most in Seoul, South Korea probably missed President Trump's strong pledge at the UN to destroy North Korea if it threatens its nukes. One South Korean analyst did tell us they were strong words and that Trump was playing a game of diplomatic chicken. In the North Korean capital of Pyongyang, the lights were no doubt burning late. Here's how one analyst imagines Kim Jong-un's take on President Trump's rhetoric.
I bet you, as we speak, in Pyongyang, in North Korea, they're sitting around poring over Donald Trump's statements, trying to analyze what does it mean? Is this guy nuts, or is he really going to do this?
U.S. and South Korea are making absolutely sure that North Korea is aware of the kind of firepower they possess. There has been another demonstration just miles from northern soil. Senior Foreign Affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has some amazing images tonight from Seoul, South Korea.
There is a lot of talk about possible war. In South Korea, they are practicing at it, just in case. U.S. and South Korean forces taking over a mock town, but this is an exercise with a difference. Just 12 miles away, the heavily fortified DMZ. Beyond that, North Korea. These troops are some of the most forward deployed in the region. If North Korea invaded, or vice versa, these U.S. and South Korean forces would be at the tip of the spear. They're already doing maneuvers with North Korean artillery positioned dangerously nearby. The aim of the mission is to make sure U.S. and South Korean military can work and fight together, and the Yanks can get used to the tough Korean terrain. The regime of Kim Jong-un calls these drills invasion exercises, and it drives him crazy. That's probably another reason why the U.S. military keeps doing them.
All training that we do is training for a possible war, but it does give it a different flavor when the pressures are heightened and there's a different bit of intensity as you see, in the conditions around you.
No one on the ground here thinks the military option will be an easy or a preferable one. They're hoping that even a rough form of diplomacy will come through in the end.
Our top story this morning, U.S. President Donald Trump has issued his strongest warning yet to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un at his debut at the UN General Assembly. Calling him by the nickname Rocket Man on the global stage, Trump said North Korea's nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles are a threat to the entire world. Our Park Hee-jun starts us off.
The 72nd UN General Assembly session opened on Tuesday. Leaders from 193 member states gathered at the UN's New York headquarters to address several ongoing international crises, including the Rohingya crisis, the civil war in Syria, climate change, and of course, North Korea's continual nuclear and missile provocations. The highlight was, as expected, U.S. President Donald Trump's keynote speech at his first appearance at a General Assembly session since his inauguration in January. In a wide-ranging speech where he hit out at Iran and Venezuela, President Trump reserved his sternest words for the leadership in Pyongyang. He said that, if necessary, the U.S. would totally destroy North Korea to defend itself and its allies.
The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. The United States is ready, willing and able, but hopefully this will not be necessary.
He went on to emphasize the importance of UN member nations working together to isolate the Kim Jong-un regime. President Trump also thanked members of the UN Security Council, specifically China and Russia, for their votes in favor of the toughest ever UN resolution on Pyongyang for its most recent nuclear test. Although Pyongyang will have heard President Trump's comments loud and clear, the North Korean diplomats in New York weren't in the room to hear them as the North's UN ambassador left his seat prior to Trump's arrival. Following the speech, South Korea's presidential office issued a statement saying it's evident the new U.S. administration sees the North Korean nuclear issue as highly important. The top office also said Trump's remarks confirmed that the strongest possible sanctions are the only way to denuclearize the rogue regime.
Вы думаете, что в силу принятия каких-то санкций Северная Корея откажется от того курса, который она взяла на создание оружия массового уничтожения? Вот для меня санкции любого рода в данном случае уже являются бесполезными и неэффективными. Да, они, как я вчера сказал одному из своих коллег, травму поплатились, понимаете? Но не откажутся от этой программы, если не будут чувствовать себя в безопасности.
Kim Jong-un has declared he will achieve his goal of building a nuclear weapons arsenal despite international efforts to stop him. As tension mounts, U.S. troops are training for a worst-case scenario situation where they will have to react at a moment's notice. Ron Allen reports from South Korea.
North Korea threatening to test still more weapons of mass destruction. After a beaming Kim Jong-un watched the latest missile launch, he's vowing to create a military equilibrium with the U.S. Ozan Air Base, just 50 miles from the border, home to many of the 28,000 U.S. military personnel in South Korea, remains on a constant state of alert. That bright light piercing the clouds, a top-secret U-2 spy plane returning to base. We're in the chase vehicle, the driver on the radio, guiding the pilot down.
3 now, 2.
Nicknamed the Dragon Lady, first used to spy on the old Soviet Union, able to soar at some 70,000 feet, sending real-time pictures and sound from the ground back to base. Now taking on one of America's toughest challenges here, trying to gather intelligence about what Kim Jong-un will do next. How is it different now than under normal circumstances?
We're busier now than we've ever been.
Do you get calls from family, friends? Do they ask you what's going on?
We do, especially family back home in the States who are seeing kind of what's going on in the media. They call concerned, but for us here, really our daily operation, our daily job is just to be ready.
Captain Drew Taylor of Newtown, Connecticut, who flies this supersonic F-16 fighter jet, would be among the first to respond to an attack. He says he can get from his bunk into the skies in less than 5 minutes.
We are constantly training that every single sortie that we do could be our last training sortie, and we may be going to war after that.
And you really feel that?
We do.
Another one down. Occasionally, break from the intensity. Every returning U-2 pilot gets a hero's welcome after the standard, grueling, 10-hour solo mission. How was it?
Great.
Our conversation interrupted.
Sorry to interrupt.
The pilot off to a confidential debriefing. While across this sprawling base, practically edging enemy territory, constant readiness for whatever they're called on to do. Ron Allen, NBC News, Ozan Air Base, South Korea.
Following on the heels of President Trump's call for a sharp increase in military spending to deal with threats like North Korea, the U.S. Senate has approved a mammoth defense policy bill for 2018. Now, the bill authorizes the Pentagon's budget for next year and sets guidelines on how the money is spent. Kim Hyo-sun reports.
The U.S. Senate has overwhelmingly passed a roughly $700 billion defense policy bill for the next fiscal year, backing President Trump's call for a bigger and stronger military. The amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, which authorizes an $81 billion on-year increase in defense budget, was passed with 89 votes in favor and just 8 votes against. The legislation includes an additional $8.5 billion allocation for the Missile Defense Agency to strengthen missile defense. It also includes the Pentagon's pledges to defend the Korean Peninsula through the deployment of the THAAD anti-missile system and a nuclear umbrella. In addition, the bill lays out Washington's plan to enhance its extended deterrence over its allies in the Asia-Pacific region, including South Korea and Japan, by mobilizing all military capabilities, including nuclear and conventional. The House of Representatives passed its version of the bill in July, and the two versions must be reconciled before Congress can consider a final version.